Welcome, everyone. As I was telling the folks in the waiting room and getting set up, we're going to give folks just a couple more minutes to start in case anyone's running a little bit late today. Welcome to the GTC Getting to College webinar on a very interesting topic and a very timely topic today, the free application for federal student aid. This is an important one. This is the first day, technically, that it was supposed to be launched and out, the new FAFSA form. However, they released it early. So while I waited for the first, you could have filled out the form earlier. But we're going to run through this in a little bit different way than maybe we've done in the past. And so for those of you who may not have been with us in the past, what we typically do is a 15-minute or so, sometimes it's a little bit longer, sometimes shorter, presentation on a particular topic. And this time it'll be this student financial aid application that everybody has to do if they're going to go to college. Other times we have kind of done that lecture and then we open it up for questions, and I do not record the questions. Folks don't have to worry about that if that makes you nervous. We turn off the recording for the questions, and then also anyone wants to share things about the community after that. So we're here as long as there's questions and sharing going on, but the presentation will start in just a second, and that will be on the federal student financial aid. Free application for federal student financial aid. God, it's 12:03. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And as I said, this one's going to be a little different, primarily because I found an incredible resource out there that I think will be very beneficial because it'll be updated. And so instead of having 1 year's worth of information about the FAFSA, people pronounce it different ways, by the way. I've heard FAFSA, FUSA, no, that's an actual animal, all kinds of different ways that this is pronounced, but we're just going to call it the application from this point forward. So let me pull up the resource that I found online, and then I'll give a few disclaimers, and we'll talk about that resource. All right, here we go. Hopefully you see Yahoo Finance up on the screen. And so number one disclaimer, we do not have any affiliation with Yahoo Finance. Any of the things you'll see on this page that buy or try to sell you anything, we don't endorse any of that, but we do endorse Yahoo Finance's ability to put out top-notch, quality, accurate information. When I was in doing my master's work in business, we spent quite a bit of time looking and using the Yahoo Finance page. We used it for our stock lookups, all kinds of things. But again, none of the resources you'll see on here, like over to the right there, sign up for Minding Your Money, we don't endorse any of those things. We're just basically here to provide you with an overview with great information that will continue to be updated as time goes on. Even Yahoo at the top of the page, I'm highlighting this, says that they're not our recommendations, but there are advertisers here. So take all of that with a grain of salt if someone's advertising something. But what we're really here for today is to talk about this complete guide to the application for student financial aid in the 26-27 year. So this is, you should have already gotten one and done one for the 2025 if you have a student in there. I want everyone to understand that this application is interesting because it's kind of the first time you as a parent and your student will work on an application together that has limited information because the student is the one initiating the application and the student is the one giving you access to put in financial information in general and or to sign off on loans if necessary. But this really is the student's responsibility. So you can sit down with them and work on it and learn quite a bit, or they can fill out their part, send you the information, and then you put the rest in. And that's what we're going to talk about here. It's crucial that everyone fill out these forms. It's an online form. It's not difficult. but it unlocks financial aid, and it'll unlock financial aid opportunities at the college you're going to. It'll unlock them through the feds, and any grant or loan that you might try to get in the future, they will ask, did you fill out a FAFSA, right? The FAFSA, this application is crucial. It's crucial for opening doors. It's crucial for creating options, okay? Let's go on down and look at what is FAFSA. Again, I've heard it pronounced different ways. We're just going to say application. The application is an assessment of your eligibility, right? So it will say whether or not you're eligible, and then the university you're going to can then make some decisions. You may end up with some financial aid there. Regardless, there's grants and then also the opportunity for student loans. You cannot get federal grants. You cannot get federally subsidized student loans without filling out this application. You might not be able to get out a personal loan if you're taking one through your bank. They do have many of them, like Wells Fargo has student loans. They may not allow you without filling out the application, this FAFSA as well, to receive a loan. So it's just crucial. It's something you got to do, okay? There is a link here to the online application. I'm highlighting it. Hopefully you can see that on your screen. You can print it out, but the online application really is the best way to go. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and why. So as we look, we understand the basics. The student is required to fill out the FAFSA. It's that simple. It's a student. It's their responsibility. You can help them, but it is their job to do this. It's one of the first things that you'll see, and especially as they begin to go to college, there are things that they have to do. They can allow you access to or ask for help on, but there are multiple different forms and things at the college and university level that parents just don't get automatic access because there's the expectation that this student is at or already an adult, right? Lots of money, $120.8 billion in grants and loans, work studies, etc. Through this application. You have to do it every year. Students will need their parents' signature more than likely, but certainly if they are still being used as a dependent on the parents' taxes, right? Individual colleges review this information. They will use it. It may or may not have anything to do with your financial aid package at your school, but it certainly can help. And they will ask you, and the colleges will expect you to do that if you want any financial aid through them as well, right? Whether that's a grant or some kind of work study program, it will be crucial. It also qualifies you for federal aid. There's all kinds of different loans and grants, but more importantly, you can see that you can, and I think that there's the disclaimer here, there's opportunities for loan forgiveness, deferments, forbearance, and discharges upon death. I think that it's crucial that folks have this information and do this process to make sure that anytime there's an opportunity for loan forgiveness or deferring a loan because of the occupation you've chosen later on, that you've documented that earlier on. And the only way you can do that is through this particular application. Who can apply? I don't think we need to go through all of this, but it's basically a citizen, someone who's graduated or will be graduating, someone who is applying to go to college. There wouldn't be any reason for you to do this otherwise. And then, of course, you are basically stating that all of this is true. Any of the information, financial or otherwise, that you put in the FAFSA. And you also want to make sure that you're not telling them about other grants or other loans or other things that are coming in. So if you had a scholarship, you definitely want to list that here. If not listing it would be, it's not quite fraud, but it might be considered fraud if the award you got didn't take that into account. And we're going to talk about awards a little further on. What info do you need? It's everything you normally need for your taxes. It's really that. I don't know that there was anything when I did it that I didn't already have gathered up to be honest. The other side is your student may not, your loved one may not have all these information. They may not know your contact information or your social security number, and all these kinds of things. So doing it together the first time is probably a great idea. As a dependent student, which most undergraduates are, I think this is a great line and a great chart. Your parents also need to provide this information. Again, this is a partnership. And maybe the first time you have to do a partnership with these college forms. This gives us a little information on what to do with your email. And then here's some information on how to complete it. Very detailed with steps in here. I think it's fantastic. You need to allow a little bit of time from when you create your registration, get into the system and start your application. There may be some time lags between creating the ID that you need and having access to it. Do not put this off until the last moment. I guess there's 3 things I probably want to tell everyone to make sure. Fill it out. Don't wait till the last moment. Make sure it's a partnership with you and your students so you get all the right accurate information. And maybe a 4th thing, don't be afraid of the electronic nature of this. Some people are very concerned at times about putting things online. This is by far the easiest way to do it. So at FAFSA.gov, fantastic website as well, has a lot of good information on there. You can also start the application there online. So create your ID, you sign in, you have to sign this promissory note. If you decide to take a loan, student loan, you do not have to take a student loan. Sometimes students are confused when they see this. They think that they have to sign up for a loan, and you just don't. If you don't need a personal loan to help you, then don't take it. If you need a loan and you can get some subsidies, which covers part of the interest or let you pay it back once you're finished with college, then do that. But do not take out loans you do not need, and it's not mandatory just because you filled out this FAFSA form, and they give you the option of that, right? Compile your documents, fill out the form, blah, 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 submit, and then the review status. You and your student need to make sure you're looking at this and reviewing. Your student cannot not check their email. And I'm telling you again, personal experience, your student needs to check their email. They need to watch the status of the FAFSA. They need to make sure that you are aware if there's anything in the action required section to do it. My daughter did not check her email. We went through the status and nothing was happening, and she needed me to re-sign the application simply because she had made a change of something minor. I don't know what it was, but she had to have me re-sign it once she made any change. She didn't check her email. The action required was me to sign. It wasn't finished. We got it in a little bit late simply because of that. So watch your statuses. Check your summaries. Make sure all this is good. Here's some mistakes to avoid. Okay. I think number 1 is a good one. You've got to have this ID for the parents. They're going to have to put that financial information in, more than likely. But regardless, you need to do that. Dependent students must have a parent create a separate ID as well. If you're a dependent, your parent has to be involved. If you have a dependent student, you probably want to be involved as well. Okay? It's a partnership on this application. Don't enter any incorrect information. Cut and paste names, things that you might mistype, long character strings, numbers. Cut and paste, make sure they're accurate. Make sure that all your information is in there by the deadlines. They released this in October. We'll look at the deadline here in a minute. They released it October 1st. There is a lot of time to get this done. Don't put it off though. If you have a school that you haven't applied for but you're interested in, and you have a whole list of colleges or universities or programs, make sure you put them all in there, that they receive the information. It's an update you have to do later on if you change your mind and go to a different school. Just put everybody in there that you might want to apply to, but maybe haven't at this point. Don't skip the IRS data retrieval tool. Apparently it has an acronym. The DRT. It is really easy to use this data retrieval tool to fill out all of your financial aid information. And I'm talking to the parents now. Let me back up. This is for the parents in general. If they have a dependent child, student, I guess still a child until they're 18, but wouldn't call anyone that, a young adult who is a dependent, parents, you use the tool. It's really simple. It just basically you log in and you say, okay, it's okay for the IRS to share this information with another federal entity to figure out exactly what those loans are. Now you can do that manually, have a copy of your taxes. I think it's fairly simple. I don't remember that IRS tool being there in years past that I used it. When I was in graduate school, I do not remember that, but I probably, I remember filling it out and I must have used them. I remember using my tax data. I had a printout of my taxes, piece of cake. A lot easier with this DRT. Okay, there's factors and formulas to all kinds of financial aid. I'm not going to go through this. You can certainly read it yourself. But the main thing is they take how much it's going to cost to go to the school, and they figure out your expected family contribution, which can change depending on where you're at and tax level, etc. And then they'll figure out financial aid need. What's crucial about this is that the other things, and I'm scrolling down now, non-need based, make your financial aid awarded, then ends up your eligibility for non-need based aid, which is basically your loans. So there are different opportunities at each college once you fill out the application to receive financial aid that maybe you didn't even sign up for. You may not have signed up for a first-time college student scholarship. However, the school will have this information through the FAFSA, and they can make those determinations. So you may end up filing for student financial aid at your university or college simply, and receive some awards simply because you filled out this form. Again, don't put it off. You've got to do it. One of the things I think is interesting down here is you can qualify, again, your eligibility for a non-need based aid. That's a fancy name for loans. Keep in mind, there are some loans. If you were going to be a teacher, there are some loans like this Teach Grant that you may qualify for. And it may be a great way for you, but not everyone everyone's career choice comes with these kinds of offsets. However, any financial aid you receive will be taken off that final eligibility. In other words, your application for a loan. Unsubsidized loans, right, may require repayment and accrue interest immediately. Unsubsidized loans. Depending on which one you get, you might have to start paying on it and it may accrue interest. Subsidized loans, on the other hand, which are the ones you definitely want to use first. Subsidized loans will pay the interest while you're in school, and then you can have a time after you graduate to defer to pay them. So there's all different kinds of loans. Read the fine print. Also, I guess the other disclaimer I should have made is we're not offering any financial advice here. We're just telling you about a program and about some of the things that people don't do. It would be my advice for anyone in a non-financial way that a subsidized loan that the federal government paying the interest while you're in school is in your best interest to do that. Anytime a student can save money, it's a good idea. And unsubsidized loans mean that you're paying interest, and you're going to be paying interest. You don't have some of those benefits. But subsidized loans are the ones you want to go for first, right? Special circumstances, there's all kinds of circumstances. I really didn't think we need to go through these about your financial situation and how that may change. That's another reason to file for the application for federal student financial aid, because things might change, right? Something might happen where you need to get a loan. You didn't fill out the FAFSA because you didn't think you needed it. Now you need a loan to get your first semester in because of an unexpected circumstance. And you missed that semester simply because you didn't fill out the form and you have to wait for the next time to do that. Don't wait. Get it done. Yes, you have to renew it. It isn't a one-time thing. That's one reason I wanted to look at this Yahoo Finance page, because they will be updating it. And as we all know, there's lots of changes in pretty much anything that we do in the United States, including the Department of Education. There's lots of changes. Each time, each year, you'll have to fill out the FAFSA. It's that simple. But you can also pull in all that information using these online forms. So for every extra bit of time, if you're using the online form and you've done it once, you can pull the information into your second time, use that DRT, pull your taxes in, and you're done. And it's a quick process. So do it, use the online tools, and I think that you can really benefit and save yourself time with that. When is it due? Well, apparently with this chart, you want to make sure that you're getting it done early, like I've said, but particularly because schools may have their own financial aid programs when they need to know and have your form in so they can allocate funds. There are universities who, especially private universities, who have significant amount of financial aid that go out to their students simply because they are now their students. So be careful, make sure you meet that. If there's a state-based deadline, do that. But you can see that for the 26-27 school year, it's June 30th. June 30th. This application is available in October. Don't wait till June to do it. Let's move on down and look at some of the other big questions. How much is too much on income? No such thing. Oh, I skipped one. There's no such thing. It's not about, I don't need this if I have enough money to do it. It's about making sure the student qualifies for all the financial aid they deserve, right? And I skipped this one. It's a very important one. What if it doesn't cover everything? Chances are most students are not going to have come up with a loan or a scholarship or a private pay. Everyone is going to use braided funding. It's that simple. If you had a 529 education plan, that's still money that you invested, that you saved in this education, and you'll use it. Braided funding is how most people will use that. The FAFSA is not going to cover those things. It may, but in all likelihood, some other kind of funding you're going to need to do, whether that's for books or for food or for rent. Maybe your financial aid doesn't cover lodging, right? Can you get help? Yes, there's help. There's help with the FAFSA at the Federal Student Financial Aid Center. Again, great information, great link here. And the deadline, which we already said was June 30th, in that nice, wonderful chart. I won't scroll down anymore. But this is a fantastic resource. I'm going to post this on the Facebook page, and everyone we'll get this into the chat right now. And that way everyone can see the link to this Yahoo Finance article. It's crucial. It's important you do this. This is the first day it's technically available, even though they released it early. And that's why we chose October 1st to do this, because we really wanted everybody to know that it's absolutely important. Again, do it. Don't put it off. Use electronic tools that you have available. Make sure it's a partnership with your student, and get this thing done. Don't let it hang over you until June, or maybe do it late where you miss some potential financial aid from your college. So we're going to stop recording here in a second, and then we're going to take questions for anyone out there who has some, and then we're going to do some community sharing after that. So I hope this was useful. Again, it's a little bit different than what we've done in the past with our own Getting to College GTC presentations. It's really looking at a resource that I've used for years, Yahoo Finance, but a resource that's going to be updated every year, so you won't be trying to find information on the web that's not trusted. You'll see this guide here. So thank you so much. I'm going to hit the ending the recording button now, and we'll call that done.